Marina Nani, and I'm so looking forward to this session today because there's some real interesting concepts I want to talk about with you, and some things I hope will really help you with your journeys of personal development in what area that you're doing it in, because we're all sort of doing so many different things and helping so many different people with various interests. So I was really hoping today to offer you something that might be different. And hopefully you can take something from it, and we can connect and all help each other grow as much as we possibly can. And it's great to be back. I really am enjoying these sessions with you, Marina, and thank you for the opportunity to share with your listeners what we have to offer you. So it's good to be back, and hello.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to your best time ever so far. So get ready, get pen and paper. You are in for a treat because Tom Barber is here, the Think host. What are you thinking, Tom?
I'm thinking it's great to actually reconnect with you and to reconnect with this process. Sandra and I, we've just a couple of days ago undertook our first public presentation of our doctoral work and our PhD work, and it was really nerve-wracking. And we were exhausted because it was the culmination of 80 years of work of our life, where we've been looking really deeply into the areas of women and their bodies and anger and emotion in men. So we've presented this for the first time a couple of days ago in public on our internal Viva, and it was the most wonderful experience to actually say something which we've taken years and years to develop and is original. I didn't think there was anything original to say anymore, but it seems that we found something quite exciting in these areas to offer the world, and we can't wait to really get it out there. It's good to be here to talk about this and to talk about some of the other ideas as well. But it's good to reconnect and reground, I think. That's where we're at.
Wow, Tom, congratulations. And, I'm so excited about your journey. I remember when we very first time sat there at having dinner in Toronto and talking about the Think experience. And look what's happening now. You are touching people's lives from all over the world, from all paths of lives. And what else do you want from life? I mean, think about it. So yes, it's always something new, because as we grow into the person we could be. It's always something new about each one of us. And I'm so excited about your journey and what Sandra is bringing into the world, because I've always seen this amazing silent force within, and I'm so glad she's now sharing more of what she holds inside. As I said many times, to me it's almost sinful for you to be quiet. So speak up, voice your message, please, because our listeners are in for a treat, and I know I benefited from your message, and it's always something fresh, something so powerful that makes me think that, oh my God, life is worth living. Over to you, Tom.
Okay, that's great. And it's I'm so pleased that you are part of the Think experience, because you really do know what it was like and what we put together over so many years. But today, what I would like to do is, there's so much talk around a change and living an authentic life, and we've talked about it in previous shows. But what I wanted to do really was to give your listeners a little bit more about what's underneath that and the ideas that we put into our programs, and specifically the Think experience, and what actually creates change. Because it's okay to think it, but unless you've got the processes and you've got the techniques and the areas to look in, then you might be fighting stuff inside you that you're not sure you weren't aware was there. So I wanted to take some time to look at the 5 areas of the Think experience, and to break them down and to give your listeners some real tangible things to think about and to do that will really help them. that's really what I wanted to focus on today with you.
Wow, I can't wait. Go.
Okay, good. So we've developed this over many years, and there were 5 main areas that once we really realized that we had addressed a lot of the deep issues in these 5 areas with the people we were working with, then they really flew. They were able to really stand up and be themselves, because in these 5 areas, they run very deeply within someone's life and how they operate. The first one of these is the whole notion of time. And, we're not just talking about the time on the clock, because, in a way, this is kind of a structure, and it's a construct. We're talking about really how we live in time, so that took us, we did a lot of exploration into many different philosophies over the years, from all parts of the world. But in terms of time, we've both done kind of training in timeline therapy and that kind of thing. So we know that time is a therapeutic technique that we can use to get some personal development and growth. But it runs much deeper than that. We looked at the work of a guy called Eugene Minkowski, who was a French psychiatrist and philosopher and phenomenologist. And he really sort of pulled apart time and how we relate to it from a lived perspective. So what does it mean to us in many facets of our life? How do we relate to time emotionally and physically and psychologically and spiritually, and all of these facets? And we developed this process where in the actual think experience in the room, we get people to start exploring what Minkowski described as the different spheres of time. So the different spheres of time in relation to our past and also our future. And this sometimes can blow people away, really, because when you begin to experience what you believe is going to happen in your future, it really gets you connected with how your life is being guided by your expectations. These expectations can be so powerful, and once you get connected with them, and then going to the past to see where they emerged from, you really get the ability to be much more present in the now. And what can come out of being much more present in the now, it has such a freeing experience that it really can open your eyes to your potential and the power that you have. So time is the first part of the program that we really get into grips with, so that you can really open up yourself into time and how you live in it. And that makes such a huge difference. That's where we start. There's a lot to be done there. Getting in touch with time, it means not just only that you're getting more in touch with the now, but if you're the kind of person that lives in the now and struggles to plan for the future or even think about the past and learn from it, this opens up such clarity that it seems like the natural place to start. What do you think, Marina?
Wow, I think it's never about waiting for the moment, that perfect moment which is not here, and it's never about that. It's about taking this moment right now and turn it into something so awesome that you'll be so excited yourself, you'll buy it yourself, and then you could share it with others.
Yeah, this is so true. When you get more time, then you're able to be present with more people, and to offer them so much. And Brian Tracy said that your greatest resource is your time.
You remember, Tom? We were in that cab going to in Los Angeles, going to a concert.
Yeah,
and
I remember this.
you remember that episode when the driver there, everybody is an actor, or part-time actor, part-time Uber driver.
Yeah,
so he was saying that the biggest challenge for him is to deal with people who live in a past or in a future. He said that my biggest challenge is that people around me, they all live either in a past or in a future. No one is here. And having this moment right now with you, right now, right this moment in time, this is the nurturing I need to grow. And I don't know what it means for you, but to me it's like, oh my God, it's happening, it's right now. And what else, you know, I don't know what else people could treasure more than right now.
Yeah. But you see, you know, I've come across people, like I'm sure you do, Marina, like the taxi driver did. I remember that journey distinctly, actually, and the concert was amazing. But like that taxi driver said, so many people and struggle to let some things go that were, you know, sometimes 10, 20, 30, 50 years in the past. You know, I remember, just comes to mind, I had a person come to see me for help with a phobia that they had, and it was a phobia of birds. Now, that might seem, well, how's that a problem? Well, you've only got to leave your home and go outside onto the street, and the birds are everywhere. And if you've got a phobia of them, they tend to sort of flock around you. You know what it's like. So when I explore with her this particular fear that she had about birds, this started 50 years ago. And for 50 years, it had blighted her life. And I really, you know, at the time, and I've heard thousands of stories of fears and phobias. At the time, I really struggled to get my head around how someone has had something in their life for 50 years and never come to the time to deal with it. I mean, it just blew me away. Because this is all we have, right? Really, when we get down to it, all we have is the time.
That's it. That's all we have. And if you don't see it, you can't have it. Is being in this bubble where everything is about the past and about the future, but unless you make the best of right now, how could you even have a future? And what the past doesn't, I don't know, it's not your destiny, at least. Even it's where you keep all your memories and what brought you where you are right now, but it's not your destiny. It's not an excuse. I think to me, it's almost like an excuse. People are afraid of their own greatness, and they're afraid of looking inside, and they're afraid of what they could discover and bring them out, because once you discover what you have inside, it's very hard to, you can't help it, you have to come out. But people are mainly afraid of their own greatness, and they hide in a past, and they hide in a future. I keep saying tomorrow or yesterday, and that's an excuse to me of not being who you are meant to be and who you are designed to be.
Yeah. It very much is something that stops people from really connecting with the greatness, as you describe it, with all they can be, you know. And this, for us in our work, was absolutely the most essential place to start, because until you're getting connection with the now, and you know, the things of the past and the worries of the future are moved away, then you really can't connect with how you can, to a degree, and this might sound strange, how you can control time. And that might sound, you know, for some viewers, well, what do you mean, how can I control time? Well, you know, you've probably had days where you look at the clock and the day seems to be going on and on and on and on. And you've had other days where the time just flies by, right?
Yes.
And so time, in a sense, it might well be dictated by the seconds on a clock, but how we experience it and how we live it is an entirely different thing. You see, when I was able to get more connected with the now, in a sense, I realized, yeah, we have limited time in terms of, you know, our mortality, but what we do with it is something very different too. So when I got connected, and when we help people get connected with the now, they find that what happens is that time expands, and they realize that they can do an incredible amount of things in the time they have. You know, I was only yesterday, I was with Sandra, actually, was in the gym. We go to the gym every single morning, and we spend an hour in there. But you see, the great thing about this is I spend an hour on the running machine or on the cross trainer, and in that hour, I just read and read and read. I eat books. so I just use this time and I cram everything into it. And what we achieve, some people just say, how have you got all of this done? And the answer is well, when you are able to manipulate time in relation to what you do, you can do an incredible amount of things. And this naturally has to be the place to start, because how are you going to get in touch with the other concepts available to you when you don't have time to do them? And I'm sure you hear this, you know, as you said just a little while ago, people say, well, I'll do that when I've got time, or I'll do that program, or I'll write this book, or I'll run this course, but I haven't got time yet. It's not about the amount of time, it's what you do with it.
Absolutely. You know, it almost hurts, because I feel this urgency to shake people up and tell them, wake up, now is your time. There's never a better time than now. But I tend to believe now that when the right teachers come along, that, you know, it's always inspiration. You need to be inspired, and inspiration is in very short supply. And when the right teacher comes along, like you did, and Sandra, for me, the student is ready. You are not ready before. So no matter what happens to you or for you, but you tend to think it's to you instead of to your own benefit. Yeah. You can't translate those experiences, and you can't see that the glass is half full, and everything that had happened in the past is to build you and make you ready for right this moment in time. When you meet with great people, you get guidance from them, and eventually you stop going down south and you change direction and you go north. You go towards your own star and embrace it, because it is challenging, and it's not, how should I put this? It's not a walk in a park. It's the inside work. It's the type of work like a farmer would do. You know, you have to get your hands dirty and put the seeds and put the thoughts and grow the thoughts and grow with those thoughts and see where you go. You don't know. It's a seasonal, very much seasonal type of job, because you have to do certain things at a certain time, like a farmer will do. But unless you get your hands dirty and you work with what you got, so let's say you have this thought today and you plant it, you seeded and nurture it, that's all you got. But you never know what is going to come out. You know, is a tree, is a, you don't know. So to me, it is an adventure of the mind, to follow that thought, that brilliant thought, go with it, embrace it, and never look back.
Yeah. This is so powerful, Marina. You know, in a way, the reason that we start with this whole notion of time and what you're doing with it and how you're living it, is because it breaks our heart in the same way that you say. It's so sad when I hear somebody say, you know, I'm going to do this when I've got time, or when I'm ready, I'm going to write this book, or when I'm ready, I'm going to run this program, or I'm going to be successful. But you see, in a way, they're saying it, but you kind of get a sense that they don't quite believe it. And once someone has said something for a certain amount of time and nothing's happening, then they move into an area which is what we recognize as almost starts to kill their self-belief, and it really dampens down their sense of purpose. And they start to say things like, well, I hope that will happen anyway, or I hope my business will take off and be successful, or, you know, I hope I'll be happy, or I'll hope I'll find the right one, the perfect partner, or I hope my children will grow up and be healthy and happy. And they get into this whole hope thing. And
I mean, blaming the hope. It's like, to me, it's like the same way people are saying, I'm waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah.
And they're chasing opportunities, fair enough. But, actually, they are the opportunity. Other people are waiting on you to be their opportunity. And it's the same with hope. So you are hoping for somebody else to do something for you, to be your whatever it is you think it is. And in the meantime, you are distancing yourself from taking that responsibility and being the hope, becoming the hope. It's the same with you love one person or fall out of love with another person, and you know what? You are love. It's not about falling in love. You are love.
Yeah. This is it. I mean, we're seeing this happen, and when we put the program together, we started with time. So the think is time, and then it moves on to hope, which is the next letter. And we saw that this hoping that people were engaging in, it, in a sense, it's a false hope. It's an unrealistic hope, and it starts to become kind of like a wishful hope. And then people start to wish things will happen, and this leads into what we define really as kind of a despair cycle. So someone is saying the right things, they're talking about how they're going to be successful and that they're going to achieve the things they want to in life, and they're going to find the right partner, or their business is going to grow as they want it to. But underneath, they're living with some kind of wishful hope, and in a way, this is so dampening of the creativity of the unconscious mind and the heart and the soul. So in the program, what we do is we start to get someone more connected with the reality of what they're feeling inside and what they're actually doing. Because you see, one of the authors that we've written a book with, Joe Vitale, talks about this very explicitly. There's one thing expecting to put out there what you want from life, but if you don't do anything, nothing happens. So in a way, what this means is that we want to get someone really more connected with what we call a sense of mature hope. And mature hope is having an excitement within you. And it's fine to hope something will happen with an excitedness, but with a mature sense of knowledge that you've got to do something to make it happen. Things don't suddenly appear out of nowhere because you wish them to. Marina?
I know that very well.
So, within this requires us really to look at what kind of limiting beliefs someone's carrying and what negative consequences this has had in the past, but also teaching them a sense of empowerment. When you're able to hope for something, but make a positive statement about how it's going to be happening because of what you're doing, this really makes a difference. And this really helped you get connected with purpose and meaning, and was the natural next step in the program before we moved on to the next one, which then naturally sort of flowed out of that one. And that was the whole issue of identity. Because you can have all the time, you can connect with time, and then you can get more mature in a sense of, well, I want to achieve this and do this, so I need to do this to make it happen. But then you see what emerges is, well, what about me? Will I be good enough? Am I good enough? Well, what will people think of me? And so the whole issue of identity really became incredibly important there, and how our identity really is existing in the world. You see, we looked at also the work, all of the work that we do, Marina, has some kind of theoretical base. We don't ever pull anything out of the air. It has a real theoretical base because, you see, it can be grounded then. And then we let our ideas and our creativity merge out of that. And then it becomes something of our own, which we want to pass on. But we looked at the work of Emmy van Derzen, and she's actually our professor. And she talks about this idea of our identity really moving between four areas. So the physical and the psychological and the social and the spiritual. And she talks about how we kind of, in a sense, drawn to one area and repelled from another area. So someone might really be a very kind of psychological, their identity might be really grounded in their psychological world, and they might kind of reject their spiritual essence. Or someone might be very much in their spiritual essence and then push away the whole physical essence of who they are. And when you have this kind of imbalance, you're missing out on parts of your identity growth and development. The once you get connected and balance in there, you start to fly in all different areas. And this has a major impact also on how you relate to people. You know, because I've seen this time and time again, where I've met somebody, and this is in no way meant as a slight on their personality, but I've met somebody and they said, "Oh, I'm a very spiritual person," and I just don't feel it from them. And it's not that they're using this as some kind of mask, but what I'm feeling is that, well, in this massive statement, it feels like they're kind of pushing other parts of them away. And I'm not even sure if you can say I'm a very spiritual person. It kind of feels like saying I'm a very wise person. I mean, you just can't say that, right?
I think it's not for you to say, it's for you to be.
Or in a way, I also get a feeling, Marina, that, you know, to say I'm a very wise person, you just can't do that. I think you've got to be sort of given that title, if you like, in the same way as you've got to be given that spiritual title, because unless somebody feels it, you know, there's an imbalance there.
Absolutely.
So the whole area of identity really felt like the natural place to get into here. So we do that. We did a lot of visualization with that, about moving into different areas. You know, so if you're a very social person, you know, we might get you to go through an exercise where you really get to grips with what it would be like to step into the essence of your spirituality, or to step into the essence of your body or your psychology. And we really help grow these 4 areas so that you become, there's some balance there. And you start to become able to move between them. Because there's something that I've seen time and again, and I really admire it when I see it. And that is that successful people, and I mean in any area of life, not just in business, but in any area of life, successful people have the ability to shift who they are with who they're with. So they don't expect everybody to adapt to who they are, but they're able to just shift a bit, to move a bit, and to be fluid depending on who they're with. And this creates for a wonderful connection with a wide variety of people. You know, instead of being this rigid kind of person that won't move out of what they think and what they feel. What do you think, Marina?
Well, I totally agree with you. It is a process. In my own experience, I have no expertise to you know, share anything but my own experience. And I realized that what influences you as a person more than anything are your thoughts and the people you are with. It is always like a habitat for that seed I was talking at the very beginning. You need to find the elements. So you have to be with people. This is almost like a natural or an organic need, if you want, to be with people with whom you could brainstorm, you could mastermind, you could feel influenced and not being the smartest person in the room. This is for me. I don't want to ever be in the smartest person in a room. I want to be I want to be able to learn and grow and pass that on and grow into that journey. You see, to me, life is not about the final destination. I don't have a clue where I'm going. I don't even want to know. I just embrace this process And I feel I'm growing each day into the person I am meant to be, to deliver what I have to bring out into the world. So I know for some people these are big words, but this is the reality of this. Is a big process and a very profound, very intimate process, if you want, where you discover each day that you are different than yesterday, and you are not comparing yourself with other people. I can't personally. I can't compare myself with anyone. I just compare myself right now with the person I was yesterday and the person I was before I started talking to you half an hour ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember over the last couple of months, or the last few months, hearing this saying, and I can't quite put my finger on where it came from. You might know, but it goes like this: if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, I felt that many times, and I get out straight away. I'm thinking, no. I deserve better. I deserve to grow. I deserve to learn. So I have to be with the people who found that abundance. They're in that place. And it's like walking on fire, basically, for me, finding your identity. If you don't feel, look at the charcoals, the hot charcoals, you'll never get your skin burned, and you don't feel, if you don't focus on how hard it is, you only focus on how beautiful it is at the end of this journey, and where you are going to celebrate with all these people who are there already. I think that's very powerful on its own.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned something there also, which was really interesting, in relation to what we actually do next. You see, you said there about even when you started, and the same, for both of us, when we started today in our interview today, up even now after sort of 35 minutes or so, 40 minutes, things have changed. We've become a different person already. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it can take just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, because every experience and every I believe everything that you say and hear, because we're learning from each other all the time, Marina. Every time we do this, I feel nourished. It changes you into a different person. Someone that has new experiences and new ideas. And in a sense, having gone through those first three parts of the think experience, the getting connected with time, and then getting more connected with a mature sense of hope and action, and really exploring who you are in terms of your identity, we recognize then that there was something very important there about recognizing the change in someone's neurology, and the change in not just the neurology, but who they were becoming once they'd had this experience of getting in connection with the time and hope and identity. So we looked at, there was a real need there to introduce the whole area of neurology and neuroplasticity. You see, what neuroplasticity refers to really is the potential that the brain has to reorganize by creating new neural pathways to adapt as it needs. So basically, it's your brain's way of tuning itself to meet your needs. And with every experience you have, there is a change happening within your brain, within your neurology. New synapses are being created, old ones are falling away. You see, this is the whole notion of someone going on a personal development program, and the very next day life is completely different. This is on a Tony Robbins course. The song he plays over and over again is "Life will never be the same again." It's a wonderful way, I think, to really embed and instill the neurological change that those participants are experiencing. And it's a powerful thing when you're able to connect with that neurological change, which we do through using various methods. some visualization and neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis and metaphors and language, when you're able to create that, then the way and the speed that someone can advance is mind-blowing. It's really a powerful thing to be in that room when that happens with those people,
I was reading a couple of months ago an article, and they were talking about the language your mind uses, and it was even a visual. They put there like diagram. It wasn't a diagram. It was more or less looking like a motorway, like the freeway, like they have in North America. All these thoughts traveling with the speed of light from from A to B, and how they interconnect, and how not to crush them, in the process. So I was wondering if you could tell us more about the ability of our thoughts to travel from where they are to where they want to go, because each thought is actually a vehicle, for me at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have time today, maybe some other time.
Totally. It's really important. You see, in a way, when thoughts can very most definitely change how we experience life. You heard sort of the story about, two people can be in a car crash, and one can get out of one side of the car and think, thank God I'm alive, and the other one can get outside of the other side of the car and say, oh my God, we nearly died, and sink into some real difficult feelings.
Yes.
So a lot of that is in essence to do with how they think. Now, does it mean that it's easy to change that? Well, when someone is told just to think differently, no, it's not. Because unless you get to what's underneath that, and you get to understanding how you think and how your thoughts impact your whole being, then you don't get an awareness really of how important it is to mind your thoughts. We talked about before, mind your business. Well, in a sense, it's about minding your thoughts, and thinking about what you're thinking is really important. And I see this most especially when I'm working with people one-to-one in a coaching scenario. And, I'll ask them what they think about something, and then they'll tell me what they think about something. And as they've said it, they've heard what they've said, and they go, oh, I'm not sure about that. Hang on a minute. I'm not sure I actually believe that. But you see, until they'd verbalized it, this thought had been going round and round and round in their mind as if it were true. So there's I feel a real need to mind your thoughts, but have a process where you can verbalize them, where you can make them explicit, and where you can hear what you're thinking. Because until you get it out, until you have the ability to question whether that thought is actually based in reality for who you are as a person, then it will just remain within you, doing its job or fulfilling what it's there to do. You see, the unconscious mind, Marina, is very literal. And if you have a thought going round and round in there, and it's not a very productive one, the mind will keep it going, and it will create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in getting it out and verbalizing it, you have the ability then to make a difference in how it impacts your life. Yeah.
Wow.
In a sense, it's in a way we finish up here with the think process, the think experience, in terms of knowing. That's the last part. We've had time, hope, identity, neurology, and the last thing we finish with is knowing. And in this, really, it's having the ability to truly know who you are from the inside, what your thoughts are, honestly, and get to the stage where you know what you're capable of. Because once you know that, you can't unknow it. The thoughts that are going around in you, it's really important to have the space, the time to get them into a place where you can either accept that, yes, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, or no, do you know what, I want a completely different way. And then you go about creating those new thoughts, and well, that's another story, right?
Wow, Tom, you know, this week, I don't know, it was like chasing me. The message from various radio hosts all over the world, they were coming on and they were talking about their story, they were sharing their story. Absolutely amazing people, very, very successful people, world-class entrepreneur, world-class speakers.
Yeah.
And every single day, one of them will say, I don't care what other people think of me.
Yeah.
I know what I know. I know my truth. And I have to deliver my truth. So it's very it's fascinating you are saying this, because I noticed that trend yesterday, and I had like a eureka moment, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what was this? What was this message? Because you know, when you deliver a message, it's not for you, it's for the person who needs it. And it was coming at me every single day in a very powerful way, and made me think. And when you just start talking about this, I'm thinking, no, this is not happening again, but it is happening, because I am in a place where my clients are they start the work, they are so brilliant, they understand their true worth, and then everything dies. And that is almost crushing me, you know, because they care what other people think of them. After they start creating, and when they're about to deliver, two things happen. One, there will be people in your old life, knowing your old self, thinking, what's this? This is crazy. What, you lost your mind? How are you going to speak in front of people? How are you going to share your story? How are you going to talk about private stuff in front of total strangers? So the doubts start, raking in, and it's very fast. It's like a poisonous gas. And the other thing that happened is you start thinking that you don't know, you don't know enough to share with other people. You are not somebody who is of any value to the world. So the only one thing that you have to know, really, because you know too much anyway, is that you are of value to the world, and the world is waiting on you. And it's not about you comparing yourself with other people who perhaps are within the same industry, or they have the same topic. It's nothing to do with anyone else. It's knowing that you are not a person chasing success. You are not a person of success. You are a person of great value.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very, very much so. I share that sense you have of being sort of affected, but when people get to a certain stage and they've got so much to say, you know, and so many people would benefit from what they have to say. They have no idea, and so I really struggle with that too. And I remember just talking with someone about this the other day, Marina. And I said to them, you know, I realized that you're worried about what people might think and whether you might share personal stuff. And part of that, by the way, also, I think is a lot of the time is those people wonder whether they're going to be sharing stuff about them.
Yes.
But I said, listen, it's really important to remember that very few people are really thinking about you right now, and the fundamental position of human nature is that most people, most of the time, are thinking about one thing only, and that's themselves. And that's not I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just how we operate, right? Because we're self-referencing human beings. We self-reference all the time. We hear something and we think, well, how does that relate to me? Sometimes you hear people say, they've seen someone have a bad time, or they're going down on their luck or something, and they're thinking to themselves, crikey, well, I feel much better because they've got it much worse than I have. And this sounds terrible, but this is how human beings operate. We're always referencing, we're self-referencing against other people. And what this means is that it's very rare in the amount of time that others are thinking about you. So you know what, bearing that in mind, just go out there, tell your story, remember that, you know what, you're responsible for you, they're responsible for them, and if you connect, if you meet, then it's beautiful. If you don't, hey, you know what, there's billions of people on the planet. It will happen with how many more?
Wow.
I hope that helps them.
Absolutely. It is an adventure, is it? An adventure of the mind.
Yeah.
Because only if you think about, you think that it's not worth knowing yourself. You always want to know other people. You always want to know something which is external. You always want to know how it feels like being in a better house, a big house, or how it feels like being in a expensive car, or being with rich people. But actually, why would they be with you, these rich people, this big car, or expensive car, or big house? They want to know you. So it's almost like respect, or friendship. You can't complain you have no friend. You have to be a friend. So it's the same with knowing. You can't really start wanting to know anything more, anything else. Is more to life. Yes, all of that. We heard it all before. But yes, it is more to life, but it is more to you first.
Yeah.
So knowing yourself is not about finding yourself. It's about reinventing yourself. You already got it. It's all there. It is just a question of time. It's not even if or but, or it's a question of time when are going to see who you are.
Yeah. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. It's you reminded me when you said the word adventure and just being yourself. I'm sure it was Oprah Winfrey who said the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams.
Wow.
And that's not live the life of other people's dreams.
Yes. It's nothing to do with anyone else.
Exactly.
You can't blame anyone. You can't blame the government. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame your friends. It is really not about playing that game, that the blame game. Is about growing into the person who could understand yourself. You get to know yourself, and that knowledge within. Once you realize it is how fascinating you are, you can't help it. You have to bring it out and share it. And to me, the sharing is the sacred secret of life.
Yeah. Totally. You know, Marina, I have this little picture up on the wall in my home, and it really, every time I read it, it makes me feel, very, very connected, and I really feel it's relevant right now. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called the Gestalt Prayer, by a guy called Fritz Perls. He was the founder of what's called Gestalt therapy. Want me to read it to you?
Yes, please.
It goes like this. It's very short. I do my thing and you do your thing. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine. You are you and I am I. And if by chance we find each other, it's beautiful. If not, it can't be helped.
Wow.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Wow. I absolutely love it. Maybe you could post it.
Prayer.
Oh God, it's so beautiful. It so says everything, actually.
It does. Absolutely.
So that's the poem of the mind.
Fantastic. It's called the Gestalt Prayer for your listeners. If you're listening, find it. It's a short poem. It's always worth remembering.
Wow.
Be yourself. That's all that matters.
Yourself. So until next time, from both of us, remember, be yourself.
Okay. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to being back with you soon. Thanks, Marina.
Goodbye.